Imagine a massive, multi-gigabyte application running on a server. To handle a sudden concurrent task, this heavy process needs to duplicate itself entirely. In Unix-like operating systems, the standard method to create this duplicate is a system call named fork. Fork is an instruction that tells the operating system to create an exact, independent replica of the running process. The naive way to execute this command is literal. Force the hardware to read every single megabyte of the parent process's RAM and write it to a new physical location for the child process. Moving data physically takes time. System buses and memory controllers have strict hardware bandwidth limits. If an 8-gigabyte process tries to duplicate itself, copying that data byte by byte creates a massive queue at the physical hardware level. If operating systems relied on this naive physical copying, the system would freeze every time a heavy process spawned a new task. Server performance would grind to a complete halt just trying to manage memory allocations. To bypass this hardware bottleneck, modern operating systems use a memory management optimization called copy on write. Instead of proactively duplicating memory the moment fork is called, copy on write adopts a strategy of reactive deferral. It is a strictly lazy approach to resource management. The core operational rule is simple. The operating system will defer all physical data duplication until the exact microsecond one of the processes attempts to modify it. Under this paradigm, an 8-gigabyte application can duplicate itself in fractions of a millisecond. Because no physical data is actually moving, the new process requires zero initial increase in its physical RAM footprint. This is an intentional, hardware-level trap. It is engineered to optimize system resources by providing applications with independent memory views, while the OS performs the minimum amount of physical work. Understanding this trap requires separating what a software program sees from where its data physically lives on the silicon. Operating systems provide each program with virtual memory. This is a continuous, independent address space that gives a single process the illusion that it controls the machine's entire memory. But those virtual addresses do not actually exist. They are translated into physical RAM locations by a routing directory called a page table. Every single piece of data a process attempts to read or write must pass through this page table to find its actual physical destination. Look at this diagram showing the baseline state of memory mapping. The parent process looks at its virtual memory, and the page table routes those requests down solid lines to its dedicated block of physical memory on the hardware. The operating system controls this page table. By manipulating these routing lines, rather than moving the physical beta itself, the OS orchestrates instantaneous process creation. When a process invokes fork under the copy on write paradigm, the OS intercepts the command to execute a precise sequence of events. Instead of copying the physical RAM, the operating system simply generates a new page table for the child process. It maps these new routing lines to point exactly to the same physical memory blocks the parent is already using. Both processes are now pointing at the exact same physical data. To prevent them from corrupting each other's work, the OS applies read-only protection to the shared block. The OS instructs the hardware to place a strict lock on these shared memory pages. Neither the parent nor the child is allowed to alter the underlying data. They can only issue outward read requests. The system also tracks this with a reference count, noting that exactly 2 processes are now sharing the block. This initiates the shared phase. Both processes continue to execute normally, safely reading the same physical data without any conflict. As long as no modifications are made by either process, the physical memory footprint of the system remains perfectly static. This read-only sharing is highly memory efficient, but it is inherently fragile. The system is deliberately setting up a hardware conflict the exact moment either process actually needs to write new data. That conflict arrives the moment the child process tries to modify a piece of the shared data, like updating a variable or changing a string of text. The child sends a write instruction down its routing line. It hits the physical RAM, collides with the blue read-only lock, and triggers an immediate hazard indicator, a page fault. A page fault is a severe hardware-level exception. It occurs when a program attempts to access memory in a way that violates the permissions set by the operating system. The CPU hardware catches this illegal write attempt. It instantly pauses the execution of the child process and forcefully hands control back to the operating system kernel to resolve the violation. The operating system precisely engineered this page fault during the initial fork command. It serves as a deliberate trigger to regain kernel control at the exact microsecond a physical copy becomes necessary. The operating system kernel wakes up and analyzes the nature of the page fault. It checks the memory address that triggered the fault and sees the specific reference count and lock it placed earlier. Recognizing the copy on write flag, the OS finally initiates the delayed physical copy. First, the OS allocates a brand new empty block of physical RAM to accommodate the incoming write instruction. Next, it performs a microscopic data transfer. The OS copies the exact contents of the original shared page into this newly allocated physical block. Then comes the critical routing update. The OS goes into the child's page table and redirects its routing line. The writing process now points to its own private physical copy. With the process isolated to its own hardware block, the OS removes the read-only restrictions, allowing independent modification of the new page. The operating system hands control back to the child process. The child executes its write instruction and resumes its operations, completely unaware that its execution was ever paused by the kernel. Through this sequence, the illusion of entirely independent memory is maintained seamlessly. The system allocates new physical RAM only for the specific pages that are modified, exactly when they are modified. This architecture is highly efficient, but it relies on a strict set of engineering trade-offs. Look at these side-by-side performance graphs comparing access patterns. Copy on write introduces a strict write overhead constraint. Every single first-time modification requires the computational cost of trapping a page fault, allocating RAM, and executing a physical copy. If an application is heavily write-dominated, constantly modifying its memory immediately after a forking, it will experience severe CPU lag. The hardware will be continuously interrupted by the OS kernel stepping in to manage these faults. Conversely, read-heavy workloads experience a flat, low-latency execution. If the processes simply read the shared data, the page fault trap is never triggered, and the overhead remains at zero. Software developers have to design around these access patterns. Copy on write punishes continuous, immediate modifications just as intensely as it rewards static data sharing. This paradigm extends far beyond local system RAM. The logic of copy on write scales up to the most macroscopic domains of computer science. Modern enterprise file systems, specifically ZFS and BTRFS, rely entirely on copy on write architecture for data storage. These file systems use the exact same deferral logic to instantly create massive storage snapshots. They capture the state of a terabyte-sized drive without physically duplicating a single hard drive sector. When a user modifies a file within a ZFS snapshot, the system doesn't overwrite the old data. It simply writes the change to a completely new physical sector on the disk and updates the file's routing table, leaving the original historical data perfectly intact. Whether it is managing microscopic RAM blocks or massive server racks, the core trade-off remains identical. We exchange a slight latency penalty on writes for massive systemic gains in storage efficiency, RAM utilization, and instantaneous duplication. Across all levels of systems architecture, the logic holds. The most efficient work your hardware can do is the work you successfully defer until it is absolutely required.